Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, March 1. The community of Stony Hill in St. Andrew will receive a new police station following the groundbreaking for the start of construction. The scope of the project includes the demolition of the wooden structure, reinforcing the walls of the ground floor, and reconstruction of the upper floor. When completed, it will be a 5,000 square foot two-story building with living quarters and a holding area. The project is being financed and managed by the National Housing Trust, the NHT. At the groundbreaking ceremony last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the community was deserving of a new station.
That this is primarily about improving the service delivery of our police force. It is also about improving the morale of the police force. But there is some strategic thinking behind it, which we haven't said, but I will say it now. It is a part of the establishment of the Jamaican state in all communities around the country.
The construction of the Stony Hill Police Station is part of the Ministry of National Security's Project Rebuild, Overhaul and Construct ROC to upgrade stations across the island.
It is a part of a overall framework of ensuring that the police infrastructure is in good order. It means buildings, transportation, communication, the backroom work of intelligence, and also providing from the government side the legal framework as we work to bring new legislation to the table.
Arrangements are being made for displaced Jamaican students who are studying in the Ukraine to continue their education. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith gave the update Monday on the ministry's official Twitter page. Government underwrote the cost of transportation, lodging and subsistence to get the Jamaican students safely to Poland after conflict broke out between Ukraine and Russia last week.
We had engaged UA early in this process. We'll re-engage them to see if there's any possibility at all of accommodation. And we'll also reach out to bilateral partners to see if they have any programs in place which will be seeking to accommodate students who have been disrupted from their studies in Ukraine specifically. There are no guarantees, of course, but there may well be, and we will explore them.
Minister Johnson-Smith says flights have been booked for 20 students to travel by air from Poland to Germany, then on to Jamaica. Once on the island, arrangements have been made to provide transport to their respective locations, as well as access to counseling services. Minister Johnson-Smith also gave an update on 3 students who decided to remain in Europe. She says 2 of the 3 students were at a safe location in the Ukraine, while the 3rd is being supported in Romania. Farmers in St. Mary are now benefiting from the establishment of the new Penn Agricultural Production Zone, expected to boost the production of Irish potatoes and other crops. The newly opened 344-hectare facility is being managed by Agro Investment Corporation, AIC. The primary crops being cultivated are Irish and sweet potatoes, tomato, pepper, papaya, and cabbage. Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the establishment of this agro-production zone will be an added boost to farmers to help improve their processes, productivity, and expand their horizons.
And I believe it is 35 farmers, and perhaps more to come, that will be able to access and benefit from the coordination, from the support, from being able to access market, and just to be guided and supported in achieving the best outcome that you can. We want you to be successful. When you are successful, when you win, Jamaica wins. And that is the goal of the government.
Minister Charles Jr. was speaking during a recent opening and tour of the Irish potato farms. The AIC will also provide business planning services and assistance with securing grant funding, as well as support in establishing market linkages, crop selection, and guidance on developing best agricultural practices. New Penn is one of the key farming districts in St. Mary, with approximately 500 hectares of land currently under production by over 60 farmers. The country's health sector continues to receive support for the COVID-19 recovery effort. MedGive Foundation, a registered non-profit organization in New York, is providing medical supplies valuing more than $87,000. The donation was channeled through the National Health Fund, NHF, to the Southern Regional Health Authority. Items include lab coats, gloves, face masks, and an assortment of medical instruments. Speaking at Friday's handing over, CEO of the NHF, Everton Anderson, said the donation reflected hope of continued partnerships.
We at the NHF, I don't think we've seen ever a time as now when we've worked together as one country. And one country to include those abroad who have seen it fit to give generously even in these difficult times. I remember, I think a year ago, I don't think we could find space in one of our warehouses to walk because of the generous donations from various organizations and from Jamaicans.
The merger of the Consumer Affairs Commission and the Fair Trading Commission is set to be completed in the next 6 months under the government's Public Sector Transformation Program. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, says the merger needs to be completed quickly to facilitate the ease of doing business while protecting consumers. He was speaking at the two entities' virtual quarterly media briefing last week.
If this ministry is committed to the ease of doing business, we must remove duplication and cut bureaucracy. I know that the two heads of the agencies, their boards and their teams are committed to the process, and they will work fervently to ensure that this 6-month deadline is met. Our team at the ministry will monitor and will be available to support this process as needed.
Chairman of the entities, Donovan White, says the merger committee is now working to bring the back-end administrative services that supports both organizations together.
We are trying to finish the administrative side by managing the pieces of handling the staffing, assignment of roles, recreation of job descriptions. We have to deal with the issues of compensation analysis. We have to deal with the issues of budgeting from the perspective of gaining the efficiencies that the merger has sought to do. So there is still a significant body of work that is to be completed.
And finally, Jamaica has reiterated its commitment to the country's environmental protection targets. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, spoke on the matter earlier today at the 5th session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly, now underway in Nairobi, Kenya. He says government supports a proposal through UNEA 5.2 to establish an intergovernmental negotiating committee on plastics. This, the minister says, sends a clear signal that Jamaica will build on its efforts to reduce plastic pollution under the phased ban on single-use plastics and will continue to work with the multilateral community to deal with the scourge of plastic waste definitively.
In December 2020, Jamaica, along with 13 other countries, announced through the high-level panel on a sustainable ocean economy their commitment to a new global action agenda which seeks to achieve 100% sustainable ocean management areas within its national jurisdiction and sustainable ocean plans by 2020-25 and to target protection of 30% of our ocean by 2030.
Among the country's international biodiversity and blue economy commitments, he says, is the declaration of a section of the Pedro Bank as a protected area, which is expected to be accomplished this year.
Jamaica is rapidly moving towards its target of 30% protection of its terrestrial areas and 30% protection of its marine areas.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.